Hello, I'm Sarah from SavingSickFish.org. The following video presents Dr. Erik Johnson, a fish health author, hobbyist, and companion animal veterinarian from Atlanta with over 30 years of experience. This is 30 years of experience, not an instant expert with AI-generated scripts. Please like and subscribe and share if you can. For additional, reliable information, visit SavingSickFish.org and drjohnson.com. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Erik Johnson. I'm a veterinarian down in Marietta, Georgia, a fish health specialty author of this website. The reason I'm here is to talk to you about heaters and give you some kind of a crash course on heaters. And there's a lot in writing in the book. It talks about titanium heaters, it talks about glass heaters, hang-on heaters, clip-on type, and that sort of thing. And I thought that I would get on here and sort of summarize it and just basically talk to you as if you were sitting right here. So that's my goal with this. The heater has to be very reliable. And that seems like a statement of the obvious, but I think people assume too much that heaters are reliable, and they're not. The hang-on heater, I think especially, unless it's from a very good brand like Eheim or Fluval, those heaters are not really entirely trustworthy. So I don't use the clip-on back type of heater. Their adjustment is relatively simple and you can tell that they're on, but the on-off is really just a punched-out copper strip, and it's fairly inaccurate. They do last a long time if you don't break them in a water change, but they are prone to breakage. So the heaters that I've been typically using in my systems have been submersibles, and I like submersibles that are made of steel because those are practically impossible to rupture. So if the heater doesn't explode, then it doesn't break your fish tank. And the titanium submersible is, in my opinion, is the best one, but there's stainless steel heaters that I like quite a bit too. The problem is that one of the best stainless steel heaters is called Finex, and they are very expensive. And then these other companies came out with titanium heaters at a very reasonable price point, and so I'm not sure really, like, I don't look at stainless heaters. I like the titanium ones. Heaters occur in a range of powers, or so to speak. I mean, they make 5-watt heaters. They look like a little black matchbox car on the end of a cord, and they're sold as beta or nano heaters. The next up is 50-watt, 100-watt, 200, and so on. You can get 800 and 1,000-watt heaters. Now, the problem with the heaters when they get up to a certain level is that they're likely to kick a breaker. Your power at the wall, where you plug the thing in, it can handle 110 volts or whatever. I'm not an electrician, but it can handle 110 volts, and it can handle up to a certain number of watts or amps. And if you exceed that, then way down in the basement where the breaker box is, it'll kick the breaker. So if you're running, let's just say you're running a 1200 watt heater alongside your filter and alongside your light and maybe your radio, another appliance in the room, a clock, radio, or I don't know, whatever. And if it overloads your breaker more than a specific number of amps, could be 10, could be 20, and you go over that amperage, then everything turns off, whether it's your filter, your heater, your lights, everything. And you might not know it. If your heater kicks the breaker and it's all that's on that pole, your heater goes off and you just don't know it. And I've had that happen in wintertime. I've had it happen in the heat of the summer, cutting off my aerators. In the heat of the summer, when your aerators cut off, your fish are gone. But this is about heaters. So my favorite heaters are the submersible titanium. They're available on Amazon. Typically, they're less than $50. The secret sauce to titanium heaters, however, is to buy a brand that has pretty good reviews. I like, right now, there's a Pop It Pop. And if you look at the website under heaters, that's savingsickfish.org/heaters, you'll see a link to the current reigning champion titanium heater. I think they changed their brand, but the heater itself has remained the same. Anyway, so you can check out that link. Hopefully I'll be able to make it pop up on the screen. So I use the titanium submersibles To keep the heaters from cooking the fish, because if you think about it, 800 watts, 1,000 watts, that's a lot of heat. If that thing got stuck in the on position on anything under 500 gallons, it's likely that you would cook your fish in a half an hour or less, depending on the size of the tank. The book actually has some suggestions as far as how many watts you need for 5 gallons, how many watts you need for 50 gallons, and so on. I have a tendency to overpower, so like I would easily use 100 watts on anything up to a 10 gallon. You could make a 100 watt heater do a 20 gallon, but I'll use a 500 watt heater in a 30 gallon in a second. It's only on for a minute and it heats the tank up. But I'll put those things on a thermostat. And a thermostat is sold to control humidifiers, lights, heaters, the whole thing in the seedling industry, also in the hydroponic industry, and of course aquaculture. And it has a thermostatic probe that tells the temperature, and then you set the thing. It's so easy. It's easier than a VCR. You set the thermostat to turn on at a certain temperature and turn off at a certain temperature, and you drop the probe into the tank, and then if your heater malfunctions, then it will cut the heater off. You can also make the thermostat cut the heater on, and I've done that before too. Like I had a 1,500 gallon system out in the garage one time, and I had 3 heaters in there, 3 heaters at 800 watts each. And that was a lot, and it was kicking breakers, but I finally spread it out over the course of over a couple of outlets, and finally had it all working. And so what I did was I opened all the heaters up. I just basically turned the heaters to a full-on position. And then I plugged them all into thermostat. And the thermostat controlled the temperature. So they would, all the heaters would come on at whatever their full open set point was, and then the thermostat would come on when the temperature was below 74, and it would heat it up to the higher end set point, which was 78. And so it would turn on, delivering 2,400 watts of heat to the system, heat the system up to where it needed to be, which for 1,500 gallons was kind of a minute, a while, and then it would cut off. Now, if my thermostat had failed, well, generally if a thermostat fails like that, it's going to fail in the off position or kick a breaker. It's not really going to fail in the on position, but the way heaters sometimes do. The other way to do it basically is to let the heaters manage their own temperature, and then have the thermostat backing them up, so that if the thermostat and the heater fails and it goes up to 82 degrees, then the thermostat says, no, somebody's messing up, and cuts them all off. I don't really think you need 3 thermostats for 3 heaters. You should be able to, well, I hope you should be able to run them all off of one. The thermostats that I like run 15 amps or 20 amps, which means they can handle a pretty good bit. Certainly 2 of the 800 watt heaters or 3 of the 500 watt heaters. Kind of have to play around with it. I did have a problem one time in an outdoor system of 350 gallons acrylic fish tank. I had a problem with the blower. It was an air pump, regenerative blower, and the heater and all the lights were kicking the breakers when the heat would come on. So I had to cut down the wattage on the heater. And I really like those 800 watt heaters. So are there other ways to heat your tank? Absolutely. There are submersible glass heaters, which the book talks about, sand-filled glass heaters, stainless steel heaters, titanium heaters. I do prefer a submersible and not a hang-on. I don't like anything up against the glass. And there are also cage heaters. There's a 1,500 watt cage heater. I don't know why anyone would use that, because it's going to kick a breaker with anything else on the pole. There's an 800 watt cage heater that you'll see a link to on my website. I really like 800 watts. The cage heaters basically are a titanium element that's in a plastic cage, so that the fish ostensibly can't like touch it or get wedged against it, especially fat goldfish. You don't want that to happen. And so a titanium caged heater is a good bet. I use those in a couple of my fish tanks. I'm heating some turtle environments as well with that. So that's kind of a discussion of heaters and sort of how folks do it who have lots of tanks and stuff. You can try to get a really good price, say on Amazon or whatever. A titanium submersible, about 800 watts. If you're going with a much smaller tank, 55 gallons or less, go with a 250, 300 watts, something like that. Watch out for your poles and breakers. Make sure that things don't kick. And consider, if the fish are valuable, putting a thermostat backup on there for you. Thank you. Hey, thank you for watching the video. I really appreciate that. Hope you learned something. That's the entire intent of these videos, is to be helpful. Just a real quick favor to ask of you. Would you mind sharing this video with one person? I would appreciate it. One person that you think might benefit from knowing better nutrition for their dog, from somebody that doesn't sell dog food. Anybody who could benefit from just taking better care of their pets. Share, like, subscribe, help me get my voice out. I would appreciate it very much. Thank you so much.